Yeah. Oh man. I almost started a song about shore troopers because shore troopers are rad as hell. But I got range troopers, and I don't have a range trooper song at all because I'm just like, range troopers, they got a helmet. I'm not quite as cool as the shore trooper because the shore trooper has the coolest helmet in all of Star Wars.
Fighting words.
That probably. I mean, there's some cool helmets, but I'm a shore trooper
Do you
helmet.
think there's bucket mocking that goes on between the different?
100%. 100%. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, and welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Today, I can't decide. So it's funny. This like goes all into like this is partially why I'm painting these is like the conversation Ann and I were having before we went live. They do have magnet feet, which is super awesome. I've I have three ATSTs, and I love my three ATSTs.
And that's it. That's the whole thing.
I have like three Vaders painted. I have a Veers painted. I think that's all. I think that's all the Empire I painted, and so I've been thinking about like, well, I'm gonna have to paint a bunch of stormtroopers. I need some scout troopers. I'm gonna need some. I need to convince. I need to get Imperial probe droids on the schedule and like make Schick let me make them, and
Yeah.
like I need all this Imperial stuff. And like I got thinking, I'm like, what color do I want to do? White? Like, do I want my range troopers to be white? Like, what if they were different colors? So I got two different test ones. I want to do one in the khaki colors like a shore trooper. So I'm going to do a range trooper and see what it looks like as a shore trooper kind of colors. And then I have one like that's Imperial gray. So it's like that Imperial armor. So it's more, because I love armor. I'm a treadhead. So what does a range trooper look like? More of a heavy metal chunk of armor coming to magnet boot his way into your heart. Magnet boot his way into your heart.
Well, now you've gone and done it. You've activated the chat.
Look, I didn't say it's happening. I said I got to convince people.
It's true. But this just goes to show y'all that sometimes we want stuff too that
Yeah.
hasn't been done yet.
Yeah. I have two ATST. I need one more. Then we can have a real party. Yeah. Probe droids, probe droids, probe droids. Yeah, I know. Okay, so I got like a khaki color out. I'm gonna start with a little gray. And I might mix a little touch of that khaki in there. I just want to see what this looks like. I want to see what these range troopers will look like in a sort of that shore trooper look, and like where the colors will go. What am I doing? Got the wrong brushes. And I like shading my khakis with a little touch of gray first. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? I hope you enjoy the show, because we're going to paint some miniatures today. You never really know what kind of nonsense I'm going to say. We all need to hang out in the winter with range trooper coats, proper mod style. Yeah. I like these range trooper jackets, and like that's kind of the other thing I've been thinking about is like maybe it'd be cool to convert some stormtroopers to wearing some jackets or such. Might be kind of a neat project. I want to do something unique when I start my empire. I want to do something unique. You know, the fun of miniatures games is being able to make things your own, kind of telling your story. So, say droid again. Droideka? Droideka? Droideka again. Droidegan. And then like maybe this plate. These helmets are so rad. Wraps on the Stormtrooper army, yeah. Wraps on Stormtroopers would be pretty cool. I mean, there's something about the, what are they called on clones? The, like, skirts, right? I like the skirts on clones, and maybe like taking that idea and manipulating it to Stormtroopers would be pretty neat.
That is interesting. What would they be? I guess they'd be like a tabard, like some kind of tabard.
Yeah, I mean,
Or kilt?
ARC troopers have them. They're almost like a kilt, aren't they?
And then snow troopers have them like wrapped around the back, right?
Snow troopers have like whole coats, yeah. And they're hard plastic mask. What's the plan for the fire? Wolf, bear, or squirrel? I don't know. We'll find out. Tune in next time. We'll put some, probably dark brown. Let's do dark brown. Let's do a little warm brown. The clear answer is ponchos. Oh, a bunch of man with no name. Stormtroopers. Every time I deploy, it's like, ay, ay, ay. Wow, wow, wow. Would I paint my X-Wing to match my Legion scheme? No, absolutely not. I have scum in X-Wing. I'm not matching my Empire to that. No self-respecting Empire. I have a very unique color scheme for mine. This doesn't gotta be perfect. It's a test miniature. We're just getting ideas out. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I didn't clean these up super good because they're just test measures. Literally don't matter. We're just seeing what the color idea is here. I think I can use that same color as the next shade on my armor. I think it needs to be a little more creamy. Oh, you're talking, this is a paint stream, my dude. You gotta ask me paint questions. Yeah, that's not how it works. You can't trick me like that. We're just going to tone that just a little bit. Yeah, this cat fights bears in the mountains. You don't want to go up to them mountains. When I'm painting armor and cloth, do you approach these differently? I do. When you're painting armor, I want thin, tight. You know, I want to look sharp and shiny and hard. So the highlights are way different than on cloth. You want softer highlights on cloth, which means broader, maybe not so high. And in armor, I'm thinking more about like the hard edges and the sharpness of the material. Which we've talked about in the past, but it's always good to go over again. Go ahead and block out. Sometimes it's easier to see what you're doing when you block out some of these other elements, so they're not sort of, especially like that's, I airbrush that tan color on, so that tan is kind of all over the place. This is for anything you're working on, be it Legion or your favorite X-Wing ship. You want to, sometimes you just need to block the area off so you can see what you're working on better. Just like that. Any tips for getting good contrast on gray? Too dark in the recesses, it appears black. Too light on the highlights. Contrast on gray. Yeah, I try to. Well, we're going to get to gray in a moment, actually. So then we'll talk about the gray, Mr. Rich. Yeah, there's always a process. We always follow it. So I think like, let's just darken all that brown just to make it more unified. In search of reference, do you collect ideas, images, references, internet or real life? Both. You know, the internet allows me access to things I can't get outside. But I am definitely a person who, if I'm walking around and I see something cool, I was actually on a little trip a couple of years ago and I saw like a really cool rundown, busted up piece of machinery, and I just found the weathering and wear and tear on it pretty fascinating. And so I had to pull over on the side of the road and take pictures of it, obviously. But you know, sometimes you have an idea and you're just like, man, I really want to use rhinoceros fur as a, you know, point of reference here. Well, I don't have a rhinoceros nearby. So you go to the internet, right? And you go check it out and see what you can find and try to find good pictures. I use references from all over the place. I love references. These are, since these are just test measures, I'm trying to just get the idea out. I'm not using any references today. I'm going off memory of Shore Troopers. And sort of doing my interpretation of it, because it's just getting the, you know, like I said, we're just sketching out the idea. What would range troopers look like this? Just a fun exercise anyways. But then also the Imperial Gray, like we're just gonna kind of make that up. Like we all know sort of what the Imperial looks like. So we're gonna kick that up and go from there. I need to highlight this. Do-ba-do-ba-do-do. That's a good question. I like that question. A well thought out and respectful question, Daz.
There's something about the way this texture is reading at the point in your process right now that makes me think of like frontier folk.
Yeah, he's woodsy.
Yeah, I like it.
Me, when I become the harbinger of doom in a movie, this is the way I'm going to dress for it.
Well, the other thing that's great, if people are curious about, you know, different ways that we've painted these up, the last time they were on stream was during Mini Strav last year, and I think Schick went pretty much with like a as seen on screen type of vibe.
Yeah.
So there will be something for everyone to kind of get ideas from for what they want to do, which is great.
Yeah, if I remember right, he did a very screen version, right? The sort of white snow Arctic vibe to the ones he painted at Mini Strav, which is great. It's lore accurate. It looks really good. I think the only other time you've ever seen these in story is in a comic. Is that right? think they've only been shown in a comic. So that's why I was like, well, I kind of want to do something different. How would they look? How would they look like a shore trooper? And I'm kind of vibing on this. I only got a few more minutes before I got to switch to the other one. I think this is like sort of giving us an idea of what these miniatures and characters would feel like in a different scheme, right?
Totally.
And I think that that's important. Is like, and it's sometimes, like I said, it's just sometimes you just gotta kind of sketch one out. Like, what does it look like? You know, it's easy to say you can imagine it in your head, but sometimes it's just nice to. Yeah, the Solo movie. I meant outside the Solo movie. I apologize. I wasn't super clear. I know they're from the Solo movie. They're on that awesome train heist. But outside the Solo movie, I think they've only been shown in a comic. I might be wrong about that. It's okay. I think they'd have blue markings. I like the blue markings on shore troopers. I think that looks really, really, really good. I love a good train heist, just in general. I love train heist movies.
I was rewatching Solo the other night, and I feel like there's almost like that the sequence for the train heist and like the short lead up to it is so full in that movie of like character development.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, honestly, one of the reasons that heists or operations type storytelling is it can be so powerful because we get to see people like show rather than tell who they are. And so many of these troopers, when we see them in these various environments and types, they communicate so much through the costuming about who these people are.
Who they are. What do they do?
Make your adjustments with how you're interpreting them, like Dallas is today. It gives you a whole new sense of place and what these guys or people are doing there.
Deep maroon is nice. Next to that pale blue, yeah. These are the best looking stormtroopers in my opinion. Yeah. There were Viper probe droids in Solo. They're never gonna let me live that down. I want things. Black. Oh, we're running out of time on this one. Let's go with a little brownish black for the gloves. You do 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 do. I think this cloth needs to be darker. this fur-lined suit. I've been to a fancy dinner party. It doesn't have to be cold to wear fur. You want to talk about taking me to a fancy dinner party? You want to talk about some of etiquette? Am I off camera?
You're good. We just have a little bit of the palette was
That's actually pretty cool. Seems like painters, or just me, go from follow the leader to understanding the principles of the leader. Any important things to pick up on this transition? Oh, yeah. There's always that moment when you're learning how to paint. Like if you go to art school, right, they do master studies where you literally just try to copy like master painters, Michelangelo and such. And the reason for doing that is you're trying to understand why they did the thing, right? And you're replicating it. And that makes you start to think about it in new ways. I'm a big fan of this philosophy. I picked a very, very tiny select number of painters when I was learning how to paint that I was going to try to mimic. And that's what I did. I just mimicked them and asked questions of when my attempt would fail. I would ask, why did it fail, right? And I think that's a big important part of the question you're asking there, TK, is you have to learn to ask, why did it fail? And you know, there's a million reasons why something can fail. But it's an important part of like learning and growing as a human. I mean, just in general, you know me, I'm always going to talk about like what it takes to just be a better human person. But as a painter as well, is learning to ask those bigger, more difficult questions that you might not want the answers to. Right? So, super important. What are the questions I would ask is those, right? Like, why did it fail? Why is that not working? And then just keep going, right? You just got to keep plugging away sometimes. And, you know, also ask yourself, what's your end goal? You know, that's why we always talk about the destiny of a miniature is what's the end goal, right? Is it for competition? Then you have different questions to ask than if it's just for tabletop. All right, we've got about 30 minutes on this. What do we think of this color scheme on Range Troopers? I like that dark brown against the khaki.
The mahogany kind of color is really nice.
A rich mahogany. I mean, there's still lots to do here, right? Like I don't think my blue is in the right places, obviously. it's figuring out stuff like that. It's the little things, highlighting the silvers. Kel Fry, doing that also, you also find things that you're comfortable with and can adopt. Yeah, finding what's comfortable. Like sometimes, like your favorite painter might do something like, there's a painter that I took class from, and like I watched his process, and like there was parts of his process I was like fascinated by, and then other parts I was like, I can't do that. And not I can't physically do it. Like it was a more patient-driven process than I was willing to participate. I'm like, that's too much patience.
Well, and everything is a toolbox, right? So you
Yeah.
have to figure out what works for
You're
your
figuring it
process
out.
and what you enjoy.
You're learning the different things. So I slid that to the side the way he was doing that, but then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, well, is there a way that I can take that and make it my own? And then so you start thinking about that kind of stuff. And that's the interesting stuff that makes it where you start to develop your look, your style. Are you always happy to darken down the wash, or do you need base coat to be reapplied? Daz, that's not a binary question for me. That's not a yes or a no. That is it depends on what I'm trying to achieve. Sometimes I need to darken down with a wash, and then I need to reapply my base coat. Sometimes I build the highlight into the base coat, and then I darken down with a wash, and then I have my mid-tone and my dark. So it just all depends. It's going to get hot on the beach, maybe pattern on the leather, cheetah, leopard may add interest. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think that there's some interesting things here, but I really like that. I like that khaki look on these. I like the khaki look on that. All right, let's try Imperial. So this is the gray Mr. Rich was asking about earlier. How do we get contrast in gray? I pulled out a very, very light gray. That is silver that I just got out on my brush. I pulled out a very, very light gray and airbrushed this miniature in a very, very light gray. I'm going to start with a Payne's gray mixed with a light gray to kind of come up with like a bluish tone. I'm going to use two brush blending. And now I just want to create that same gradient. You can do washes. There's a million ways to paint. You can use layers. The big thing is don't lose that mid-tone. It's like with all colors. We use the word local color a lot. You don't want to lose your local color. All that means is the color that you want something to be.
Where does that term come from, Dallas? Local color.
Local color? I don't know where it comes from. I mean, we use it all the time, and when we're talking about when the art boys are talking about their art, they're like, yeah, the local color here on this Luke Skywalker piece, as you can see, and you're just like, oh yeah, yes, fascinating, yeah. I bet somebody in chat. I just don't want to lose too much of that, and I want to create some contrast, and then I want to come back later and really ping in those highlights. A jungle green style would be a nice project as well. Yeah. I actually thought about jungle green for one of these today. Kind of decided against it, but yeah, like an indoor would be. No, you're saying not indoor. I do think indoor would be a very cool color palette for a unit of these range troopers, or any jungle, as you're saying, like the green of Scarif, I think is great to complement that. Yeah. Do you have a rough percentage of emphasis color you try to maintain? Does it vary by material, light to dark? Super good question there. A lot of it for me depends on the project. I think general rule, I'm trying to maintain what percentage? Well, you're asking a percentage. That's math. I don't get paid to do math. Like black and white, I know those numbers. Like with black, I try to maintain 80% is black, and with white, I try to maintain 10% is white. And the rest of those percentages are just literally different colors, not black, not white. So my local colors for something like a tabletop miniature or like a studio is different. Studio, I try to maintain a massive amount of that local color. I want to maintain, probably 70% of the color of the base color is the base color. That sounded really dumb. Probably like 70% of the element is the base color. That sounded better. Take two. Can you cut that and edit? For tabletop, you want super contrast and pop. So, maybe about the same. I see a lot of people paint really dark though. Man, that's just a tough one. I think it depends on what you want. I mean, you could paint some really cool tabletop miniatures that literally use like an 80% base color, and then you have 10% shadow, 10% highlight. Is real poppy, real strong. I think everybody works a little different. You gotta find what you like. That's a good question. I'm curious, like, if anybody in chat has like their kind of number in their head that they personally paint with. I know Daz paints, Kelfry paints. I know we got several painters in here. Like, have you ever thought about that number for yourself and what you enjoy looking at when you're painting your miniature? What percentage is your base color allowed to shine through, and also why? Like, why is it that percent? That's a fun conversation. I've been wanting to do something where I show like how to do some tabletop miniature painting where it's like literally 80% is just the base color, and then you just shade once and highlight once and just show how quick and poppy you can make something.
Yeah, it is really interesting because I think I'm in my current learning process. I think I tend to make things more dark than they need to be, and then I have to once I start glazing or washing, I go too hard on the shadows and I lose some of that local color. And I think thinking about it in a percentage is very interesting because sometimes I think everyone needs like their way to think about something that's going to give them the light bulb moment and be like, oh, I see what I can try now, right? And I think for me that's a really interesting question because my struggle is always that, they call it like the too much gene, right? Like not allowing your true highest of high point highlights to be those, and then adding highlights everywhere there's a raised edge or something like that.
Yeah.
So it is really important to think about those.
You got to think about that. I do rough numbers, so like 20% metal, 80% cloth, skin, and hides are all over the place. Yeah, I think it depends on the miniature. I think it depends on the elements. Like, man, it's like definitely like on cloth, like, I want way more local color on a cloth because that creates that softer edges. Or I want that broad openness. And then like on metal, I want like a lot of the dark and a lot of the light, right? Because that's what's going to give that metallicness. We're getting fancy questions today. Good job on those fancy questions. People asking fancy questions, y'all deserve one no prize today. I need, there's a black wall, transparent black will do the job.
I'm for sure gonna, man, this percentage question has
You're going to be thinking about it now.
really got me going.
Yeah, you're
Which
going to be thinking about it.
This is great because tonight is my primary like hobby hang night, so I'll have plenty to apply it to like immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, traditional art way is soft textures absorb light and find their place, which is more universal. Metal reflects it, so there's more light to dark to deal with. Yeah, that's we love talking about that one, right? It's like when you're doing cloth, right? You want those broad, soft highlights, and then when you're doing metal, you want those tight, sharp highlights. It makes it feel like a harder material, you know, and that's why, right? The soft materials are dispersing light throughout the element. So you want to recreate that in the miniature. I love all these paint questions. Y'all are thinking about art so hard today. And that's really what we're here to do, right? We're here to talk about art. The universal joy of miniature painting. The thing that defines and makes our hobby unique from so many other hobbies is that participatory part of the creation process, you know? That ownership of taking a miniature and building it, maybe converting it, doing like a little head swap or something, you know? We've done those. And then taking that time and painting it up the way you want it, if it's canonical, not canonical, like it's really what makes these games unique and different from any other thing on the planet. I personally find that super fascinating. So obviously you do too. That's why you're here. That's why you play these games. Even the most ardent of the hardcores, like they know deep down inside they want to paint their little war dolly super good. So I'm keeping, like this is the armor, so I'm keeping these highlights nice and tight on the edges. Right, we're just getting a sense of the look of this, right? We're not trying to paint it perfect. I'm going to get an idea of sort of what this would look like if we followed through with a full version of it. Like, is this the color scheme that I want from my, is this the color scheme I want? I don't know. They have a blue white? Yes. Oh, it's called white blue. And then I want to go up even higher. Which am I preferring so far, brown or gray? Whoa. There is something about this gray, because like I said, I have 3 ATSTs already painted for my Empire. I don't have more painted. I've been waiting for hard plastic stormtroopers. Boy, oh boy, as soon as I get those. But there's something about like tying it to that heavy armor that is pretty cool. But also super love shore troopers. Ah, my heart. Local colors is the way to say like your base color, like your the mid-tone, the color that you want people to say it is. Like the color of the armor. It's gray. Why is it gray? Because I painted the local color is gray. And then that's all reinforced by highlights and shadows, yada, yada, yada. Hard plastic shores. I don't think we've ever said that or ever shied away from the notion like we want to make everything in hard plastic. When? I don't know. But, you know, getting everything in hard plastic is, in the immortal words of a wise man, that's just good business. The Han Solo info? Oh yeah. You had an article go up, right, about Han Solo? The shadow points?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was today.
Dope. They do fit nice and easy with Blizzard Force. Would you demand more creativity from yourself? What do you mean? Would I demand more creativity from myself? I'm not following that comment. I apologize. Oh, look what happens when you add this black to this.
It's very cool.
This guy's looking for rebellions to squash.
It's true. It's true. That or train jobs to stop. Either way.
He's looking for train jobs. He's looking to stop a heist.
Yeah. You got a heist? No, you don't.
Excuse me, citizen. Have you seen a heist?
Because I don't think so.
You haven't. Because you know why? I stopped it.
I stopped it. I stopped it yesterday.
You ever notice how when you see a range trooper, you don't see a train heist in the same space?
Where's the lie?
He's already stopped it. He's already put an end to that nonsense. See, now I need to. Now I know. Now I know what the graffiti on my terrain is going to be. I'm going to paint a picture of a range trooper, and it's going to be like, "Do you have a train heist? Call 1-800-RANGE." Heyo! I don't know why I said it like that. It goes good. We're just painting some random colored range troopers to get a feel for some alternate ideas. Just testing some stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing what the haps is. Creativity to push yourself into a scheme or style feels more unique. Yeah, Yeah. I just didn't understand how you were, how we were fitting that into the conversation. Yeah, I always, I love presenting new and unique forces. Not to say I don't adhere to canon at times. But even when I do, like my clones are white, but I did a unique take on them. I feel they all have like skulls, and they're called the Lucky 13s, and they're mine, right? And I think that that's really fun and important. Um, so it's super fun to do that kind of stuff. Um, my my ATSTs are painted very canonically though, because I love that Imperial armor. But I do want to bring something unique to the Force. I just don't know what it is yet. I just don't know what it is yet. But look at this fellow. Very thin. This is how they did it way back in the 1970s on some actually Star Warsy stuff. They did that like black wash. And then I'll probably repick all that stuff out again with a little more gray to bring it back. And then on the helmet, I want to thin that down. I don't want that as powerful. Good gravy. Does make the dice roll better. I also just enjoy it from the perspective of like, I go to my friend's house. I spent 6 hours painting Darth Vader. I spent countless hours painting my, stormtrooper squads. I'm doing all this stuff, and my friend does it, and then, I paint up a bunch of cool terrain. There's that like level of like participating together in the story element of the game and being like, hey, I painted this to fight against you, right? I painted this for our story. And I think that that's so cool. And I think that that's like, once again, that sort of unique part of miniature games that other games don't have. I'm not disparaging other types of games. I play lots of types of games, but that's the unique part of miniature games that drew me there, was that like, I'm gonna spend the weekend building this terrain. I'm gonna build this building, and then I'm gonna go to my friend Barry's house, and he doesn't know this terrain exists yet, and we're gonna put it on the table, and then we're gonna have a tussle. It's going to be a great story. It's going to be so awesome. And he's going to be like, I painted this tank. And I'll be like, I didn't know you had a tank. And I love it. It's so interactive and so narrative and storytelling and participatory. And love it. Getting all misty-eyed over here. Can we blow dry real quick? I know we're almost out of time.
Yeah, sure.
Real quick, just sorry. And we're back. Phaedrus, that's something me and my friend Ron talk about all the time, is the idea of, you know, painting a couple different armies. And then that way, if your friend maybe doesn't have one, they can still play the game with you. Or, you know. But hopefully, I love it when my friend gets in and builds that army, right? Gets excited and builds that army themselves, and I get to see what they've done and stuff. So. Gray versus brown. The clear answer is a squad of each. Oh. Maybe that is the answer. We're going to put them side by side in a moment. So you can see I created that, Mr. Rich, I created that contrast on that gray I painted a couple highlights, a couple shadows, and then I did that pure black wash, kind of get down in that crevices, give it a little bit of that grunge. I like that Imperial Armor grunge. And then I'm just re-poking with some highlights to give it that full pop. Of course, I was doing this for real. I'd be way more careful and for size, but this is just a test color. This is just a test miniature, just to see. All right, are we ready to look at them side by side? I don't know about Ann, but I have a meeting I gotta go to. There's always a meeting. I judge that the gray dude seems tougher, the brown fella's more resourceful. He's got resourcefulness. There you go.
Can you move the gray one over a little bit? There you go. And then bring the gray one back and the other one forward.
That's complex.
They're getting them in the right plane to be focused on. And you can bring the brown one forward slightly. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
What do we think? Brown or gray? You know, no matter what they pick, I'm gonna sit at home for the next month and fret and question it all, and be like, well, they're just gonna be white.
And clearly both, right? So one for one.
One for one. A squad of each. Who knows? Maybe I'll paint 2 armies. Maybe I'll just paint 2 Imperial armies, and
just paint 5. I don't know.
Oh my gosh! a bounty hunter feel to the brown. Yeah, there is a bounty hunterness to that fella. Oh man, some scrap parts on that miniature to make him an ex-range trooper bounty hunter. Oh.
Yeah, I really like that gray one. I think.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just where I am.
I mean, you put that guy next to the ATST, and that
makes sense.
It's like you just hear the they're coming to ruin a village.
There's something super industrial about it that feels very Empire to me.
Very Empire. Very Empire. All right, remember, every Tuesday and Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can check us out right here on Twitch. You can hang out and talk to us about some miniature painting and fun stuff like that. And then that's Tuesday and Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. And then for all the latest news, information, and announcements coming from Atomic Mass Games, check us out on Twitter and our Instagram. If we talked about there, we can talk about it here. That's how you know what we're talking about. That's where we talk. That's where we do the chitty chats. That's what I say. It's a little chitty chats. No? You don't like that, Ann?
No, I do. I had to hide from you because I was laughing.
Yeah.
I don't want to crack you up.
You could be the administrator of Chitty Chats. It's like a subtitle. Yeah.
It's a community manager, hyphenate, administrator of Chitty Chats.
Chitty Chats.
I'll talk to Simone about it.
Yeah. Get Simone on that.
These are my expectations.
I love them. All right. And so until next week, we'll see you later. Thanks for joining. See you later. Bye. 4 Vaders.
I'm bringing you back.
Bring me back? About what? Where am I starting?
You were responding to Daz about when are you gonna game with them?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna game with them. I got to paint a whole Empire army though. Like I got like 3 ATSDs and like 4 Vaders, and that's it. That's not an Empire army yet. I have no units painted. I gotta paint so many units. We'll get there, and then I'll play a game. See, and now they're just like, he's never gonna stop.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? And scene.